Hi guys! So we're going to be doing our third World Showcase series today and our fourth Disney food menus, or not menu, recipe, thank you. So I have of course my nice mini ears on here, and then I also, let's see if I can show you guys, have my magic band because we're in Epcot right now. So we're going to be traveling to the Canada Pavilion today, which I'm really excited about. So we're gonna do two different recipes in this episode. We're gonna make pretzels, and we're also gonna make the really well-known beer cheese soup from Le Cellier. So I'm really excited about that. I will say that this is pretty much like an all-day type of affair because we have to make bread, which is gonna have to proof. And then the soup doesn't take that long, but you don't want to stress yourself out and try to be doing too many things at once. So I would definitely do this on a day that you're off of work. I mean, right now is the perfect time to do these things because I think we have more time than we maybe did before. But yeah, so let's go to Disney. Got my signature Anna braids that I like to do for my Disney videos, my Alice in Wonderland ears, and hopefully we can bring some Disney magic to your home. Alright, so first I'm going to show you the ingredients for our pretzels. And I'm not going to showcase water on here, but that's actually a big ingredient for this recipe. But we're going to need some sugar. I don't have pretzel salt, but I figured this Himalayan pink salt is like a coarser salt, so we can use that for our pretzels. But ideally you'd want to use pretzel salt, baking soda, all-purpose flour, yeast, butter, and vegetable oil and egg. I have more flour because we're going to need 4 cups total. But we're going to go ahead and start this because it is going to be about, I'm going to say an hour, almost 2 hours to do this recipe. So let's do it. Alright, so one of the first things we're going to want to do is get our stand mixer set. And I know we use this quite often for baking, but I mean, it's just so beautiful, nice mint green. But we're going to want to use our dough hook because we are making bread. So we're going to add some of our ingredients in here, and a lot of it what we're going to do is going to help the yeast activate. So we're going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. We're looking about 110 to 120 degrees. So we got 1 cup right here, and then we'll add the 1/2 cup. Alright, so we have 1.5 cups of water. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. I lost my tablespoon measurement, so hack, 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. So if you lose it, don't fret. Alright, so we have our sugar in there. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. And just use kosher salt. No, we wouldn't use the Himalayan or like the really coarse salt for this. Alright, so we have our water, our salt, and our sugar. Now we're going to add 1 package of active dry yeast right into here. We're just going to sprinkle it on top. And in case you don't, if you have like the bulk amount of yeast, it's going to be 2¼ teaspoons. That's 1 packet. Alright, so we have our yeast in there. We're going to let this start to foam, so at least 5 minutes we're going to let this sit. I didn't mix it, I just sprinkled it on top of the water. We don't want to mix it too much because of the salt in there could deter the actual activation of the yeast, so that's important. So in the meantime, what we can do is we're going to melt 2 ounces of butter, and then we're going to measure out 4 cups of flour. And I should clarify, so there are 16 ounces in a package of butter, that's a pound, so 4 ounces per stick. Half of a stick is 2 ounces, just so you're aware. Alright, so I've measured out 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I have our butter melted. This isn't quite started to foam yet, so we're going to give it another 5 minutes just to foam up. Alright, so our yeast is nice and foamy. We're going to go ahead and add our 4 cups of flour gradually, and our melted butter to this mixture. And we're going to do it on low speed until it all incorporates, and then we're going to increase the speed to about like medium high to help knead the dough, and we're going to let it knead until it pulls away from the bowl. Alright, so all of our flour and butter is in here. I'm going to increase the speed, and we're going to mix it until it comes off the side of the bowls. It'll be about 5 minutes. Alright, so our dough is pulling from the side, so I think we're going to turn this off, and we're going to transfer it to an oiled bowl like we've done for our bread before. Alright, so we have our nice greased bowl. I took our dough and I just formed it into a ball. Now we're going to cover it with plastic wrap, and you guessed it, we're going to let it sit for an hour until it doubles in size. While we're letting this proof, it's good to put it in a warm area. You can probably hear my dishwasher in the background. So I'm actually putting it by my dishwasher because the air is going to be a little bit warmer. But yeah, we're going to let this sit for an hour. Alright, while we're waiting for our bread to proof, we're going to go ahead and make our beer cheese soup. So these are our ingredients. So we have some bacon, celery and carrots. The recipe that I'm using, which is Disney's recipe, does call for red onion. However, I'm gonna bring this to my brother, and he doesn't like onions. So I'm gonna put that in the actual recipe description, is to put the red onion, but I'm just gonna omit it for my brother. So 12 ounces of cheddar cheese. So I'm gonna do a mix of sharp and mild cheddar. Some Canadian beer. The recipe calls for Tabasco. I don't have that, so we're just gonna do this hot sauce. Worcestershire flour to make the roux, some chicken stock, and some milk. So we're gonna go ahead and cut our vegetables and our bacon, so then we can start cooking those. Alright, so I've cut up our bacon, our carrots, and our celery. Normally there'd be onion in here, but my brother doesn't like them. I don't know what's wrong with him. Just kidding. A lot of people don't like onions. So the first thing we're going to do is cook down our bacon. We're not going to want it to get too brown. We're just going to like cook it a little bit because it's going to continue to cook in our soup. And if you get it crispy, it's only going to get softened in the soup. And then we're going to add our carrots and our celery. And then we're going to create a roux, which is whenever you take fat and flour and it's a thickening agent. Traditionally, it's butter and flour. That's like the base of a lot of soups and like cheese sauces and things like that. But since we have the fat from the bacon, that's gonna be the fat that we're utilizing. All right, so we have our bacon starting to cook down. See, even Deegan's, is even dressed up for the occasion. He's got a little, he doesn't want to show you because he wants to lick the camera. He's got a little Mickey bow. Let's see if you guys can see it. Look at that. Are you so handsome? Yeah? Are you the best dog? Wow. Alright, so our bacon has a little bit of color and you see all that grease came out. So now we're going to add our carrots and celery. Alright, so we have all those in there. We're just going to mix these up. I'm going to let them cook down a little bit. The celery will get a little bit of translucency. We don't want to caramelize them by any means. But we want to cook them down slightly, but they will continue to cook all the way in the soup. Alright, so our vegetables and bacon look nice. Ooh boy, soggy. So I have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle this in and mix it for about 2 minutes until, you know, like it's not completely white roux, it's a little bit brown. It's really important that you cook this out. You don't want there to be raw flour in here. You don't want to overcook it though, because of the, I mean, you can have a darker roux, but it's going to have less of a thickening power than a lighter roux. But we're going to cook this out just to make sure that we don't have any raw flour taste in here. And then we're going to add 3 cups of whole milk and 2 cups of chicken stock. Alright, so I'm going to start to add in the milk. We're only going to want to add a little bit at a time and stir it. So this is the first cup of milk. And we're just going to stir that, and then we'll gradually add the other 2 cups of milk as well as the 2 cups of chicken stock. Did you just see how much that first cup of milk already thickened? That's pretty cool, right? So that's from the flour and fat mixture. So we're going to go ahead and add our second cup of milk. Alright, so that second cup of milk already thickened, so we're going to add our third cup. So we have our third cup of milk in there. We're going to add our first cup of chicken stock. I'm then going to add our second cup of chicken stock, and then I'm going to use a half cup of beer, and I'm going to add this in here, and then we're going to let this simmer for about 15 minutes after that. So let's go ahead and add that cup of chicken stock. And I know it looks kind of like it's really thinned out significantly, but don't forget we're going to add cheese to this. And I mean, it already is still very rich, so don't fret when you see that happen. So I had already put that last cup of chicken stock in there. Now I'm going to add our half cup of beer. Alright, so our mixture has been simmering for about 15 minutes. I tested the carrots, and that's going to be the thing that takes the longest to cook, and they are nice and soft. So then we're going to go ahead and add 12 ounces of cheese. I actually used my microplane to shave that block of cheese, so it looks like a lot more than it really is. But this is 12 ounces. I decided to use like a mild and a sharp cheddar, just for a different flavor balance. So we're going to gradually stir this into our sauce, or not our sauce, our soup. Alright, so we whisked in about 1/3 of our cheese. We're going to add another 1/3 and then add our last little bit. Alright, so we have all of our cheese in there. So we're going to just let this all melt all the way. We want to make sure that it's not gritty. That's kind of why I added it in gradual stages, especially with cheddar, because it's not as creamy of a cheese. Alright, so our cheese is nice and melted. It's not gritty. So we're going to go ahead and add a half of a tablespoon of Worcestershire, maybe a little bit more. And then, this is not Tabasco, obviously, so about a half tablespoon of that too, but I might add more to taste, and then we'll add a little bit of salt to season it at the end, and then our soup is done. Alright, so it's all finished. So I will let you know that I ended up adding a full tablespoon of Worcestershire, and then probably a tablespoon and a half of the hot sauce. just my preference. I just think it tasted better. And then about a tablespoon of salt, but that looks awesome. So we're gonna set that aside, and it's almost time to start rolling out our pretzels. All right, while we're waiting for our our pretzels to continue to proof, we're gonna turn our oven to 450 degrees, and then we're gonna bring 10 cups of water and 2/3 of a cup of baking soda to a boil. Just gonna lightly grease our workstation down. Our water's almost to a boil, and our timer's about to go off for our pretzels to finish proofing. So we're gonna roll these out into 8 pieces. I'm not gonna turn them into actual pretzels. I'm gonna do pretzel bread because that's what they serve at Le Cellier. But if you want to go ahead and do that, you can. And I have a pan lined with our silicone mat. So, and then we're gonna just really quickly make some egg wash with egg and water. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take the plastic wrap off of this, and we're gonna transfer our dough onto our surface. That was our timer. I've already greased the surface, and our water is boiling, so this will be pretty fast to do. So there's our dough. We're just gonna kind of punch it down a little bit and divide it into 8 pieces. Alright, I decided to actually divide it into 12 pieces because I thought that they would be too big. So we're gonna roll these out into ropes, just to kind of look like pretzel breadsticks. Alright, so I've rolled these out into like kind of breadsticks. They're probably about, I don't know, like 6 inches. So we're gonna go ahead, I already tested one, but they're not perfect. I don't know. They're just gonna look like breadsticks, so it's not perfect. Just roll them into little breadstick shapes. But we're gonna go ahead and do each one of these for 30 seconds in that mix of the baking soda and water. It's hard to see, but we got one cooking in there. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and bake our first batch. First I'm gonna create some slits right on the top, which is just the scoring, and then we're gonna brush these with egg wash and sprinkle with our salt. Alright, so I did 3 score marks in each of these. Next we're going to use our egg wash, which is just egg mixed with water. And we're going to coat all of these in that. Alright, so we have our egg wash in all of these. Now we're going to sprinkle some of that salt, and these are going to go in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. These look really, really good. Tim already grabbed one. They're about 1,000 degrees, so he's burning himself. So we're going to throw the other batch in. Alright, so I just transferred these to a cooling rack. The other ones are in the oven. I'm going to plate this up and show you guys the composed dish, and then I'm going to package it up and bring it to my brother. Alright guys, what do you think? So right here we have our nice beer cheese soup, and then we have our nice pretzel bread to dip in there. I'm going to be bringing this to my brother because I can't be eating all this rich food every day. I might have a little bit, dip some pretzel roll in there. But yeah, really simple meal to make. Oh geez, a little sweaty. What did you guys think about that recipe? Thought it was really easy to make. I think it's nice to have a break from all the sweet Disney recipes that are out there, because we did the school bread, the Dole Whip, the macaron ice cream sandwich. So Disney doesn't have a lot of I mean, there are a good amount of savory dishes, but not ones that are so iconic as, you know, as this beer cheese soup. So this is really easy to do. It just takes a long time to do it. So make sure you carve out some time. But I'm gonna go deliver this to my brother along with some of those marshmallows from yesterday, because there's no way I could eat 24 marshmallows. I could, but I won't feel good. But thanks so much guys for watching. This was our third in the series of the World Showcase series, and this time I actually brought my magic pan, so pretty excited. But next, I don't know which country we're gonna do next. I actually wrote out a menu. I'll tell you guys what I'm gonna do for the different countries, so let me just read it. So we already did Norway, France, and now Canada. So for UK, I don't have a deep fryer, so I think like to do fish and chips the right way, I don't want to do them because it's not going to be accurate. So we're going to do shepherd's pie, and then do the half and half, which is Guinness and Harp, as the drink with that. For Mexico, I was thinking about doing the jalapeno margarita from La Cava del Tequila, and maybe the white queso, or the queso fundido, or the chicken tostada. I haven't decided, so if you guys have a preference of one of those dishes that you want to see, let me know and I'll make it. For China, I was gonna make the pot stickers from the quick service location, and then the peach bubble milk tea, so excited about that one. And then for Japan, I was gonna show you guys how to make sushi, and then we'll do a sake tasting. And then for the American Pavilion, they have the new Regal Eagle like the smokehouse, the barbecue restaurant. So I was thinking about doing I guess the pickles. I haven't had them yet, but are supposed to be like all the rage. Everybody keeps talking about them. So I was thinking about making the pickles, and then maybe doing like some smoked pork butt. Haven't decided yet, and then do a craft beer, maybe from Florida, because I think that's what they're showcasing in there. I'll verify that, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. And then for Morocco, I was gonna do some braised chicken with couscous, or potentially I was gonna do like one of the platters from Tangerine Cafe, and then maybe I'll do some mint tea with that. But yeah, really exciting stuff. I'm loving this World Showcase series. I also decided to kind of pick some other iconic Disney recipes to make, like the Mickey Rice Krispie treats. I mean, everybody would want to, they're pretty easy to make, but to make them in the shape would be really cool. Maybe some Mickey cake pops. I'm blanking right now. Oh, like was it the sticky toffee cake from, I think it's Liberty Tree Tavern? I heard that that's supposed to be really good. But yeah, a lot of different options. If there's a specific Disney recipe that you want to see, leave it in the comment below. I'll make it. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, especially if you're a Disney fan. I mean, I look crazy wearing my Mickey ears by myself in my apartment. Well, Tim's here, but he's probably making fun of me. But yeah, a lot goes into these. This was, you know, a good amount of work to make this dish, but I hope it was worth it because it could bring you a little bit of World Showcase back home. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.